Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ant Ninja Interviews. So today we have a very awesome guest, Sharookh Daroowala. He has recently been a finalist at the International Public Speaking Competition, which is a huge achievement. But before that, I want to get to know Sharookh a bit more so we can all understand where he came from. Sharookh, do you want to tell us a bit about your background and how you came here to Vancouver from where you started?
Ah, that's a long question. I am, like my name, long and complicated in terms of story. I belong to the smallest religious group in the world. We are called Zoroastrians or Parsis. We originated in Persia 3,500 years ago and were persecuted by Alexander and fled to the shores of Gujarat state in India about 1,200 years ago. And in the past 1,200 years, I am the first one in my family to then leave the shores of India and end up in Canada via London, England, Hong Kong, and in 1987 here in Vancouver.
Oh, wow, that's quite a journey, Sharookh. So let's get into from how you started in Vancouver to an international finalist at public speaking. Well, what's that transition like? Why did you make that journey into public speaking?
I spent a good 35 years as an international banker, as an entrepreneur, as a student, as a teacher, and I came to the conclusion in 2014 that success in life, especially on the professional front, essentially comes from your soft skills. Hard skills, once you acquire them, they are par for the course. But success in its purest form comes from acquiring soft skills. What are soft skills? Communication, interpersonal skills, teamwork, collaboration. And my own successes have also predominantly come from my soft skills. Once I started harnessing them, in large part through my Toastmasters journey, I also realized the value that I could give back to those that had helped me. So in a way, what I'm doing now is walking the talk and giving back what I have got so much from the journey that I've been on, especially in the last 20 years with communication and public speaking.
That's actually a really interesting quote. For you, success comes not from hard skills, but soft skills. So I imagine when you did investment banking, you definitely had to learn a lot of hard skills like finance. So was there a defining point where you realized that soft skills are actually very important and that you had to work on it?
It's actually a very interesting question because when I was based in Hong Kong, I was essentially a branch manager, and we had to put our credit proposals to a committee. And quite often, as we would leave those meetings, my colleagues who were also branch managers would take jibes at me and tell me that their proposals were much stronger than mine, but they would get rejected. And the only reason mine would get approved is that I had the ability to do a better sales job. There you go.
Better sales job. So after becoming much better at these soft skills like communication and public speaking and becoming international finalists, how has that affected your own business?
Well, it has changed my business. I used to be an entrepreneur. I was a business person in the hotel industry, then transitioned into conflict resolution. But when I reached the finals of the World Championship of Public Speaking, a very interesting thing happened. My mother, who had forced me into taking part in a public speaking contest when I was probably 8 or 9 years old, had told me after I'd come third in a public speaking contest in Mumbai, that if I persisted, I could one day become the world champion of public speaking. So in 2014, when I reached the semifinals, I called my mother and I said, "Mom, I'm going to Kuala Lumpur and I might become the world champion of public speaking in a few days." And I thought I would be impressing my mom. And she, as usual, I thought, wasn't paying attention, because all she kept saying was, "What a great opportunity to share your message with thousands of people." And I said, "Mom, are you listening? I could be the world champion of public speaking." 2 days later, I reached the finals of the world championship. I called my mother and I said, "Mom, tomorrow I could be the world champion of public speaking." And again, my mom is saying, "Sharookh, what a great opportunity to share a message with thousands of people." Well, as it turned out, I did not do a very good job of sharing the message with thousands of people, and I did not become the world champion of public speaking. But I got something much bigger and better out of it. The penny dropped shortly afterwards, because I realized what my mother was really trying to tell me, that public speaking is not about winning trophies and earning accolades. It's about making the world a better place by sharing the message in your heart with the others. And so that was the day that I quit my day job and I got full-time into coaching and speaking.
Wow, that is a very strong transition for you then. So now that you're doing coaching because of being a finalist in international public speaking, what sort of coaching do you do?
Well, I teach students. Mm-hmm. In fact, just in the past hour, I was coaching a set of middle and high school students. One thing that all 5 million members of Toastmasters will agree upon is they wish they had joined sooner. I started formal training only when I was 40. Imagine what would have happened if I had started at 20. So I coach high school students, I coach professionals, I coach professional speakers, and in large part, as I teach, I also learn. So it's a win-win for me.
So that's a really broad audience that you coach to. So how do your coaching strategies differ from, let's say, someone who is younger and starting out with a new business compared to someone who is an established professional and or business executive?
Interestingly, public speaking is about simplicity and clarity. And no matter how developed a speaker is, you still have to embrace those virtues. Mm-hmm. And quite often, you will find that there is a class of high school students who will be as effusive, as engaged, as charismatic as professional speakers. But of course, there are nuances and there are complexities that come in, but it is not necessary that professional speakers are the one that hit it out of the ballpark every single time.
That's a really good point. So do you think there are common themes to how you teach them?
The basics are essentially the same. It's well said that the essence of public speaking is to tell a story, to make a point. Mm-hmm. So storytelling is at the heart of what we do. And the ability to storyboard, which is to organize a story, to bring your characters out to their fullest potential, to escalate the conflict, to bring out dialogue and humor, and then to pry out the underlying message that the audience can then take home. Those are acquired skills. It takes time, but it's a fascinating journey to go through, because no matter how successful a speaker will be at a particular gig or an event, there is no doubt that they will be taken up and enamored by the science, because that science is applicable on a 24/7 basis, not just on a big stage in front of hundreds of people.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So how long have you been doing this coaching, Sharookh?
Well, I've been coaching off and on for the last 20 years, but I've been doing it full-time for the last year and a half.
Last year and a half. So that's quite a new business for you. So, do you have any strategies that you're using to get more clients for your new business?
Well, fortunately, the barriers to entry in this business are
Mm-hmm.
quite high. Every client expects the program to be customized just because they
Mm-hmm.
are so individually different from others.
Mm-hmm.
I have clients in Europe, I have clients in India. They have their own requirements and nuances. They can either come with a specific task on hand, a presentation that they are supposed to make, or it could be just a general improvement in their understanding of the science and art of public speaking.
Oh wow! So that's really diverse crowd of people from Europe, India, and North America.
Yes.
So, after doing this for a year and a half, what have you learned about starting your own coaching business?
That no matter what you do, you are only as good as your last client or your last presentation. That there is a cause and effect. The more effort you put into it, the more results you will get. But it is a very rewarding and enriching experience, because as you share the message in your heart, you are also imbibing that message in your own heart to a deeper extent. And you're having a multiplier effect, because your client and your client's audiences are then going to also take to that message and take it to heart. So the ripple effect is pretty amazing in this business.
Awesome. So ripple effect. So I guess it sounds like it's mostly word of mouth. That's how you get your clients. Is that right?
Almost always my
Almost,
clients come
okay.
From another client, yes.
From another client. Oh, okay. Interesting. So when you're talking about how your next client comes from your last client, you had a bit of a smile there. Was there a story that reminded you of when you really learned that lesson the hard way?
Or the easy way.
Or the easier way?
The nice part about this business is when you're speaking to 400 people, you're always going to have somebody of influence in a large crowd,
Mm-hmm.
and they will come up to you and ask for a business card or want to meet up with you. I was speaking about a week ago to a small group, and turns out that there was a guest that had come in who then sought me out, and now he's my client. And I guess he wasn't even supposed to be in the crowd, but somehow I inspired him to come up and come out with his own story,
Mm-hmm.
which I've now discovered is pretty compelling and mind-blowing.
Oh, wow. So that's definitely unexpected way of getting clients. Sounds like you just whatever you do, you have to keep living your theme, right? Keep sharing your message and keep inspiring people with your message regardless. And sounds like doing that will get you clients unexpectedly through your story. Eh?
That's true.
Yeah.
But also remember that when you are a public speaking coach, you also have to be very good at what you do every single time, because
Mm-hmm.
that is your business. And so you have to be able to walk the talk. If you're a doctor, but if you're a poor communicator, you can still get away and be a good doctor. Although that's not entirely true as well. But my point
Mm-hmm.
is this: as a communication coach, you have to walk the talk. You have to show them how it's done every single time. Otherwise, you'd be a poor role model and probably would not be very successful in this business.
Yeah. So we have a few more questions that we want to ask you before we wrap up. And these are a bit more personal to you. So for people who are starting out with their new business, what are your top 3 books that you like to recommend?
Well, my perennial number one, whether you are in business or in life, my perennial number one book is The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. If I'm not mistaken, it's the second best-selling book in history after
Wow.
the Bible. What is it about? Life and death and everything in between. That's my number one book.
Mm-hmm.
If it comes to communication, all the books by Dale Carnegie, written 90 or 100 years ago, are as relevant and as fresh today as they were almost a century ago. They are my public speaking Bible, and I have been for a very long time. You absolutely can't go wrong with them. And for the professionals who really want to get deep into the science of public speaking, I would recommend a book called How to Win the World Championship of Public Speaking by Jeremy Donovan. Although it is called How to Win the World Championship of Public Speaking, which suggests that every reader would be an aspiring world champion of public speaking, that's not necessarily the case. But the technicalities and the fine points that he has managed to pry out are pretty remarkable.
Awesome.
So those are my top 3.
Top 3 books. So we'll be definitely be linking to those in the post below. So check them out. Another question I have for you, Sharookh. Is there anything that you've been doing in your business as part of your daily routine that keeps you really grounded to your vision of your business?
I feel a deep sense of gratitude that I'm able to do what I do, because my clients, for the most part, are about to inspire their audiences. And so it's a serious responsibility for me to make sure that their goals are achieved. For example, currently I am coaching a number of TED Talk speakers. Many of them are celebrities, accomplished speakers, and they are going to be speaking to 2,600 people and 1 to 2 million viewers online. And I'm taking this job very seriously just because of their ability to change thousands and thousands of lives with their stories and their messages.
Sounds great, Sharookh. And for people who are starting out with their new business or a new public speaking career, do you have any last words for them, any last nuggets of advice? Communication
is at the core of any successful business. Your ability to articulate your ideas and your vision to your audience are fundamental to success. Unfortunately, in our school system, we are never really taught communication in a very serious way. In large part, this is because the teachers are not trained very well, and importance is not given to soft skills. And that is why so many of us start very late in life, because they see this gap and they see the need to bridge that gap as quickly as possible. I would recommend to them that they learn the science, which is interesting but exhaustive, as quickly as they can, and then watch the results flowing in. There is no doubt in my mind that powerful communicators are successful leaders and successful business people. All right, everyone, you've heard it from the man. Success comes from mastering the soft skills. Thank you very much, Sharookh Daroowala, for having us. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.